Okay, hello and welcome back to the deep dive.
Hello, everyone.
This is the place where we take the big, confusing English language and we slow it down.
Way down.
We make it simple, easy, and, useful for your real life. We call this our English Learner Club because we're all learning together.
We are.
I am Sarah, and I am here with my expert guide and thankfully now slightly awake partner.
Stretching sound. Good morning. Or good afternoon, depending on where you're listening from. I am Mike.
He's here.
I promise I am awake now, even though we are diving deep into maybe the most complicated, stressful, and vocabulary-heavy topic of adult life.
Oh, definitely.
Finding a house and paying the bills. It's a huge stack of English vocabulary, but don't worry.
No, don't worry.
We are going to break it all down step by step, making sure you know exactly what to say and what to listen for.
Exactly. Our mission today is super practical for you, the learner. We're not just learning definitions from a book. We're looking at real conversations you might have when you're trying to find a place to live.
Yeah, when you're talking to a landlord or even just meeting your new neighbors for the first time.
We'll use simple English, very clear examples, and we will repeat those key phrases a lot.
Because repetition really helps your memory, especially when you're learning a new language.
Think of us as your two friendly guides. We've collected all the most important words from real source conversations.
Words like deposit, furnished, council tax, and negotiable. All the scary ones.
It sounds scary.
But we're not just going to explain what they mean. More importantly, we're going to show you how you can use them.
In full, confident sentences.
Yeah. We want you to feel prepared the next time you open a website to look for a flat.
Our goal for you is simple. By the end of this deep dive, you will know the key phrases and, the strategies you need to handle these important life situations in English without feeling overwhelmed.
Yes. Let's make this information yours.
Let's do it. But before we get started, you have a quick friendly reminder for our learners.
I do.
Absolutely. This is the small part where we ask for your help. Just a tiny bit.
If you find this conversation helpful for your English practice, please do 3 simple things for us.
Okay. What are they?
First, please hit that like button. It tells us we're making the right kind of lessons for you.
Super helpful.
Second, please subscribe to the channel so you never miss a deep dive.
And third,
Share this with a friend who is also learning English. Every little click helps us continue making these detailed, free deep dives for you.
yes, please do. We love reading your comments and seeing new learners join our club.
We really do.
Now, let's begin our great search. We are starting with renting vocabulary, the language of finding a home.
Okay, so imagine you've just arrived in a new city, or maybe your current lease is ending and you need a new apartment or a house. What is the very first thing you say when you talk to a letting agent or a landlord? It's simple, it's clear, and it's direct.
What is it?
I'm looking for a house to rent, or I'm looking for a flat to rent.
Perfect start. And immediately they will ask you the key question about money.
They'll say, what is your budget?
And the budget is, what is that exactly?
The budget is the maximum amount of money you are comfortable spending each month on rent. This is the most important number in your search.
It really is. So we looked at 2 very different housing searches in our source materials, and this really highlights the reality of the housing market.
Oh, definitely.
In one conversation, the person was looking for something quite nice, maybe what we would call mid-range or even high-end.
Yes. The luxury side, my favorite side.
Of course.
This search was for a proper house, not just a small flat. And the needs were very specific.
Like what?
2 bedrooms, which is pretty standard for a small family, and crucially, 1 small study room.
A study.
I always need a study room for my work or, for my collection of very old books.
That makes sense. And what about the outside of the house?
And of course, private parking. No one wants to search for street parking late at night. It's the worst.
It is.
The person looking for this house was hoping the rent would be around £800 per month.
That sounds lovely, but as we both know, £800 might be possible for a house in some areas, but in many big cities.
Right.
That's a really good price for all those features.
It's a great price.
The source conversation also specified they wanted a quiet area near the town center and excellent public transport. A bus stop only 2 minutes away.
That combination, a quiet area but near town and transport, That's the gold standard. That's what everyone
It
wants.
really is.
But as you mentioned, not everyone can afford that level of convenience or, that much space.
Exactly. We also looked at the other side of the search, the reality of a very tight budget.
Mm-hmm.
In a different conversation, a learner had a maximum budget of €750 per month. That's a fixed maximum.
The reality budget. When your budget is very tight, you have to be one thing,
What's that?
flexible. And this is a very important English word. To be flexible means you are ready to change your requirements and accept a house that is not perfect.
So when you're flexible, you accept fewer amenities or fewer comforts. For the €750 budget, the learner found a studio flat.
Okay, so what's a studio flat?
A studio is a very small apartment where the bedroom, the living room, and the kitchen are all one big room. There are no separate doors except, for the bathroom.
And what was missing from this very basic, very affordable studio, I bet the list was long.
The list was long, but it reflected the low price. It was small, it had no balcony, so no outside space, and maybe the worst part,
Was
it was on the third floor with no lift.
no lifts. Oh, no.
That means 3 flights of stairs every single day.
Oh, my tired legs do not like stairs. No, thank you.
Me neither. But listen to the lesson here, listener. The more things you want, the parking, the lift, the extra bedroom, the balcony, the higher the rent will be.
Right.
If you're flexible and you accept a basic kitchen or those 3 flights of stairs, the rent can be lower.
So you have to decide which compromises you can accept.
Exactly. It's a key concept in renting, trade-offs.
You trade space or convenience for money.
Let's focus now on the key vocabulary for the house itself. One crucial element is location.
Location, location, location.
The source conversations mentioned 3 important things about location that renters are always looking for.
Okay, what's the first one?
First, they look for a quiet area. Why is a quiet area important?
Because no one wants to live next to a really busy road or like a loud bar. You want to be able to sleep.
Exactly. Second, they wanted to be near the town center.
Mm-hmm. This means it's easy to walk to the shops, the restaurants, maybe your work. It's the opposite of living way out in the countryside.
And third, they always ask about public transport.
Right. Public transport means the systems that move people around the city. So buses, trains, the subway, or the metro.
In the source, one bus stop was just 2 minutes away, which is very convenient. The other was 5 minutes away, which is still pretty good.
Yeah, that's not bad.
You should always remember this phrase. Is it convenient for my job, or is it convenient for the children's school?
Right. If public transport is good, your location is usually better.
Now, let's talk about features inside the house. You have to ask, is the house furnished or unfurnished?
Ah, the classic question. And it affects your moving costs a lot.
So if a house is furnished, what does that mean?
It means it comes with the big, heavy things. A bed, a sofa, a table, chairs.
And if it's unfurnished?
It's empty. Just walls and floors. You have to bring absolutely everything yourself, which is, common if you already own a lot of furniture.
But there is a middle choice that came up in our source material.
Ooh, what's that?
The house for £800 was described as partly furnished.
Partly furnished. So what does that actually mean in practice?
It means some things are included, but not everything. For example, the source said the kitchen was fully equipped.
A fully equipped kitchen is fantastic. That means the oven, the fridge freezer, maybe the microwave, maybe even a dishwasher.
All those appliances?
Yeah, all those appliances are already there, installed and ready to use. You only need to bring your food and your cutlery.
But you will still need to buy the big furniture for the living room and the bedroom, unless they say otherwise.
Right.
This is important. Always ask the landlord or agent for a list of included items, for example. Does the flat include a bed?
Good tip. Now let's go back to the cheaper €750 studio. That kitchen was described simply as basic.
Basic. And that usually means it only has the absolute necessities. Maybe a sink and a counter, perhaps a small oven.
And crucially,
It had no washing machine.
the washing machine compromise. If there's no washing machine in the flat, you have to use a laundromat.
And a laundromat is a specific type of shop where you pay to use large machines to wash and dry your clothes.
It's a common compromise you make to keep the rent lower, but it adds an extra step to your week. A big step.
A very big step. Okay, so we found the house and we know what's inside. Let's move to the most important and often most stressful part of renting.
I know what this is.
Money and contract terms. We know the rent is the money you pay every month to live there. But what about the extras? You must ask this question.
What's the question?
Does that include bills?
This question is so important. If the rent includes the bills, the total monthly cost is easier to manage.
And if it doesn't?
If it doesn't include the bills, you have to budget for those extra costs. Bills are the extra costs you pay to live in the house.
So in the source conversations, the landlord listed 4 very common bills you need to pay, and we need to define each one carefully.
Okay.
The big ones are gas, electricity, water, and council tax.
Let's take them one by one, using simple terms for our learners.
Okay.
Gas and electricity are for energy. You need electricity for, lighting the rooms, charging your phone, running the fridge.
Right.
And you need gas, or sometimes more electricity, for heating your home and cooking your food.
So if you use a lot of heating in the winter, your gas bill will be higher.
Mm-hmm.
If you leave the lights on all the time, your electricity bill will be higher.
Exactly. Next is water. This is the water you use for washing, showering, cleaning, and drinking.
This bill is usually quite stable, but remember, every
Damn.
time you turn on the tap, you are using your water utility.
Yep.
Now, the most confusing one for new arrivals, council tax.
Council tax, or sometimes it's called council rates in different countries. What exactly is this, and why is it mandatory?
Good question.
Council tax is a local tax. It's money you pay to the local government, the local council where you live.
And this money is crucial. Why?
Because it helps pay for many local services that you use every day, even if you don't realize it.
What kind of services? Give us some clear example.
Okay, it pays for things like collecting your rubbish every week, cleaning the streets, maintaining local parks, providing local libraries, and supporting police and fire services in your local area.
So it's pretty important.
It's usually paid monthly.
And here's the practical point for the tenant. You, the renter, are usually responsible for registering with the local council and paying this tax directly.
Even if you just rent a room.
Yes. You must ask the landlord, how do I register for council tax when I move in? If you don't, you can get into trouble later.
That's an excellent point. Always clarify who pays what. Sometimes, in a shared house, the landlord might include the council tax in the rent.
But usually.
But usually, if you rent the whole flat, you pay it yourself.
Okay, moving on to the contract. The contract is the legal agreement, usually a very long document, between you and the landlord.
Very important to understand it.
The source mentioned that the minimum contract is 1 year.
This minimum term means you agree to stay and pay the rent for at least 12 full months.
And if you try to leave early?
If you try to leave after 6 months, you may still have to pay the remaining 6 months of rent, even if you're not living there.
Wow.
That's why it's a serious commitment.
And the other piece of key money is the deposit. You will always pay a deposit. So what is a deposit?
The deposit is a larger sum of money, often equal to 1 full month's rent, or sometimes 5 weeks' rent, that you pay before you move in. It's held by the landlord or a secure third-party agency. This money is, it's insurance.
Insurance for what?
Insurance for the landlord. The landlord keeps this money in case you cause damage to the property.
Like breaking a window or leaving permanent stains on the carpet.
Exactly. The important question you have to ask is, will I get the deposit back?
And the simple answer is yes, if there's no damage and you leave the property clean.
Right.
If you're a good, responsible tenant, you keep the place tidy and clean, and you fulfill the terms of the contract, you will get that money back when you move out.
And it should not be used as your final month's rent. It's separate.
That's a very good point.
Let's practice that key phrase again. When do I get my deposit back? The reply you want to hear is something like, within 10 days of the final inspection, provided there is no damage.
Okay, we are getting into the small but crucial details now, specific rules and logistics.
Every house or flat comes with rules, and you need to know them before you sign anything.
Yes, like pets.
I love my dog and my cat and my parrot, but are they allowed? You have to ask directly. Are pets allowed?
In one source conversation, the rule was stated very clearly, and it was quite specific.
What was it?
Small pets are allowed, but no dogs.
No dogs. Wow. That can be a deal breaker for a lot of people.
It can. But the tenant in that scenario was lucky. They said, I only have a cat.
And the landlord said,
The cat is fine.
Yeah.
So you see, the rules can be very specific. The word pet is too general. You must check about the specific animal you own.
Right, like, is a fish tank allowed? Or are 2 cats allowed? Always check.
After you clarify the rules, if you like the house, you need to arrange the viewing.
A viewing is when you physically go to see the house or flat in person, and you need to agree on a time.
The source is a great example of arranging the time. I can meet you on Tuesday. How about 4 p.m.?
That's a nice professional way to suggest a time.
You can respond, yes, 4 p.m. works for me, or sorry, 4 p.m. is difficult. Could we meet at 5:30 p.m. instead?
And if you're successful, and the landlord agrees to rent to you, they will ask you to prepare specific documents. You must bring your identity document, like a passport or a driver's license, and a crucial document called a work reference.
A work reference, what's that?
A work reference is a letter or email from your current or previous employer, your boss, that confirms 2 things.
Okay.
1, that you have a job, and 2, that you earn enough money to pay the rent consistently every month.
And why is this so important?
Because the landlord wants to be certain that you are reliable and financially stable.
Right.
If you don't have a job yet, you might need to guarantor another person who promises to pay the rent if you cannot. This is important English to know.
Finally, let's cover repairs. Who pays when something breaks?
Oh, this is a frequent point of misunderstanding.
It is. The source conversations provided a clear split in responsibility.
Yes, the landlord takes care of major repairs. Think big problems. The roof, a major leak in the main pipes, or the central heating system stops working completely. These are expensive structural problems.
But the tenant handles small issues or small repairs.
Right. For example, if a light bulb burns out, you replace it. If the shower drain is blocked with hair, you clear it.
So the landlord is responsible for the building, and you are responsible for keeping things running inside, day to day.
Exactly. Let's define one more term related to repairs. Maintenance.
Okay.
Maintenance is keeping things in good condition. For instance, the landlord might be responsible for maintaining the shared garden or maintaining the external paintwork.
You should always check the contract for maintenance responsibilities.
Always.
We've covered finding the place, talking money, and signing the contract. It's a lot of stressful information.
It is. And while the search for a house can be stressful and, transactional, all about money and rules, our sources show us that the most important part of settling in is finding support and comfort in your new community.
That's a great way to transition. Let's take a breath, and we are going to change the focus completely.
Okay.
We're moving from the house itself to the people around the house, community vocabulary, meeting your neighbors. This section is all about making new friends.
This is a lovely part of the source material because it shows how to be kind and supportive, even if you are struggling with your own English. Kindness is a universal language.
It really is. So we have a scenario between 2 people, Sarah and Amina, a new neighbor. Let's look at the first contact phrases.
Okay.
If you see someone new in your building, what is a friendly, non-threatening way to start the conversation?
You can start simply, "Hello, I haven't seen you before." This just acknowledges them in a gentle way.
Then Sarah immediately followed this with a warmer phrase, "Welcome to the building."
That's a wonderful, welcoming phrase to learn.
It is, and it's polite to introduce yourself immediately to make them comfortable. "My name is Sarah. Nice to meet you."
And Amina responds, "I am Amina. Nice to meet you too." Notice the symmetry. Simple, clear, and friendly.
This is easy English to memorize and use immediately.
The interaction then gets real very quickly. Amina immediately shares a vulnerability. She says, "Sorry, my English is not very good."
This is a phrase so many of our listeners probably feel every day.
I'm sure.
And this is where the supportive language comes in. If someone says that to you, or if you need to say that, remember Sarah's wonderful, encouraging response.
What did she say?
"That's okay, you're doing well." This sentence validates their effort and gives them permission to make mistakes.
I love that. Sarah could have also said, "Take your time," or "Don't worry about grammar."
Exactly.
Mm.
These phrases create a safe space for conversation practice, which is so important for confidence. Amina then shares some basic information about herself. Sarah asks, "Where are you from?"
And Amina's from Morocco.
And How long have you lived here?
Only 2 weeks. So it's very recent, meaning she's still adjusting.
Right. And when someone gives you information, it's polite to follow up, even with just a simple comment.
Yeah, like if Amina says 2 weeks, Sarah could say, wow, 2 weeks. That's very new. Are you enjoying the area so far?
It keeps the conversation going naturally. She also talks about her family. Sarah asks, do you live here with your family?
And yes, she does, with her husband and 2 children, a son who is 10 and a daughter who is 6.
And notice how Sarah could follow up on the information about the children. She can ask simple questions like, a son who is 10, does he play football?
Or, is the 6-year-old enjoying school? This shows she is listening and is interested in them as people, not just as neighbors.
Sarah then asks about Amina's role. Are you working at the moment? Amina says, no, I am a housewife.
And Sarah's kind response is, that's fine, it's a big job.
That's such a great, supportive English phrase. Even if it is not a job you were paid for, raising children and running a home is hard work, and that phrase acknowledges it kindly.
The conversation then moves deeply into expressing feelings and encouragement. Amina admits she finds the transition difficult.
She says, sometimes I don't find words.
And the very honest and vulnerable. Sometimes I feel lonely.
That phrase, sometimes I feel lonely, is sadly so real for many new arrivals in a country. You're surrounded by people, but you miss that connection.
And Sarah gives a perfect, normalizing response. That's normal in a new country.
Normalizing the feeling takes the pressure off. And Sarah encourages practice. Talking like this is good practice.
She's basically telling Amina that the conversation they're having right now is a free English lesson.
It is. And Amina feels the benefit immediately. She says, yes, I feel more confident now.
Remember that, listener. Every single conversation, even if you forget a word or use the wrong tense, it helps you feel more confident.
Confidence is the key to speaking better English.
Next, we move to local tips and future plans. This is how you show genuine neighborly support by offering helpful information and practical assistance.
Right. Sarah asks, do you know this area well? And then offers to help.
She gives 2 specific, helpful local tips mentioned in our sources. First, there's a small park nearby.
This is great information for Amina's children. When giving directions, keep it simple. It's 3 minutes walk just past the big blue building.
She also mentioned a key point of community life. There's also a local market on Saturdays.
Ah, the market. Amina says she loves markets because you can buy fresh vegetables there.
It's a great way to find common ground. A market is also a fantastic place to practice simple English.
Yeah, like, how much is this? Can I have 2 kilos? Do you have fresh tomatoes?
And then the ultimate sign of potential friendship making, a plan for the future.
You ask, would you like to have tea sometime?
This is an invitation. If they agree, they confirm the logistics. Yes, I would like that.
Then you choose a time and date, maybe next week. If next week is good, they specify the time that works best.
Morning is better for me because the children are at school then.
This moves the conversation from simple politeness to a real, organized social interaction. It requires clear communication to confirm the date and the time.
Right. You should practice saying, so next Tuesday morning for tea. Confirmation is key.
Before we move on to the hard conversations about money and contracts, let's do a quick check-in with you, the listener.
Let's make you talk.
Our mid-episode question is, what about you? Do you live in a house or a flat?
And importantly, do you like to talk to your neighbors?
I can go first. I live in a flat, and I am definitely the morning person neighbor.
Of course you are.
I talk to mine every morning when we collect the mail. We talk about the weather and sometimes about the local market. It's nice. Gives me a feeling of security and community.
I also live in a flat, but I am less social. I like my quiet time.
I know.
So I usually just say a quick hello and then try to look very busy and run toward the lift before they can ask me anything more.
Oh, Mike.
I'm friendly, but I prioritize my time. See, everyone is different.
We hope you took a moment to think about that, maybe practicing your answer out loud. Now that you've thought about your own home life, let's return to the source material. We're moving into part 3. Difficult conversations. Talking about rent increases, financial stress, and making the hard decision to move.
These scenarios are challenging. even for native speakers because they involve complex vocabulary and, emotional stakes.
They do.
Mastering this English shows you are truly ready for real-life negotiations and professional interactions.
Let's start with discussing costs and compromise, using the scenario where the landlord tells the tenant about a significant rent increase.
This is always a stressful moment.
It is. The landlord has a problem he needs to explain. Costs are higher. He starts by saying, I am writing to inform you that the rent must go up by £100 per month starting in January.
Wow, £100.
The first critical piece of English is justification. The landlord has to explain why.
Right.
In our source, the landlord gives specific reasons for the higher cost. Maintenance, insurance, and service charges are all higher now.
He also mentioned a very specific, slightly technical reason. New 2026 rules about energy and safety requirements.
So for our learners, this means the government is making rules that houses must be more energy efficient.
And what does that mean for the landlord?
It requires expensive work. He has to improve the insulation, which means wrapping the walls and roof to keep the heat inside, like putting a big coat on the house.
Ah, okay.
And upgrade the heating system. He needs more money to pay for those necessary safety and energy improvements.
This is a perfect example of why transparency is important, being open and honest about the why.
Exactly. A transparent explanation makes the tenant feel respected, even if they don't like the news.
But the tenant can't just accept this large increase. The tenant has to try to negotiate.
Right, so the tenant starts the negotiation by expressing difficulty, using phrases like, that's quite a lot for me. My salary hasn't increased much this year.
They then offer a specific counterproposal. This is the key moment of the negotiation.
What'd I say?
What about a smaller increase, like £50? They've taken the landlord's number, 100, and offered exactly half.
That is the start of the negotiation. The landlord says £50 is too low, but immediately suggests the language of compromise.
What's that?
Could we meet somewhere in the middle? They're trying to find a shared solution, a compromise.
And the tenant also highlights their value to the landlord, which is a very smart negotiation tactic. I've been a good tenant for 3 years. I always pay on time, and I look after the house.
That statement is powerful. If you're a responsible tenant, you have more power to negotiate.
For sure. Landlords hate searching for new, unreliable tenants, so they value your stability.
So the final compromise they reached was an increase of £60 per month.
Okay, so it's not 50 what the tenant wanted, but it's not 100 what the landlord wanted. It's the middle ground.
But the tenant didn't stop there. They asked for something valuable in return for accepting the £60 increase.
Oh, smart. What was it?
Can we sign a new 2-year contract?
Yes. This is highly strategic. This 2-year contract gives the tenant crucial stability.
It means no more rent increases until 2028.
The landlord gets a higher rent immediately, the extra £60 and the guarantee of a tenant for 2 years, which they love.
The tenant emphasized the need to plan my budget carefully. This means organizing your money so you know exactly what you can afford for the next 2 years.
A great outcome, showing good communication and strategic negotiation. They use simple but strong phrases.
Like, I propose, could we agree on, and I need stability.
But sometimes, even a compromise is not enough.
This leads us to the hard decision to move.
In a separate source conversation, a couple is discussing a rent increase, maybe £70 this time. They analyze their finances and realize they just cannot manage it.
This is a difficult, very stressful situation. The conversation is filled with important phrases about financial stress.
Like, our bills are already high, my salary hasn't changed, and the deep fear of falling behind on payments.
What does that mean, falling behind on payments?
It means you owe money that you haven't paid by the due date. They say, we can't afford this rent anymore. What if we fall behind on payments?
They realize that debt would cause even bigger, more complex problems.
This is the emotional conflict moment. One person says, I love this house. It feels like home. It's an emotional attachment.
But the other person counters that they have to be realistic and make a smart decision, not an emotional one.
To be realistic means accepting the current financial facts. The smart decision is to prioritize money over feeling.
So the smart decision is to look for a cheaper place.
And the most logical place to find lower rent is often outside the city, in a suburb or a smaller town nearby.
Rent is generally cheaper when you're further away from the city center.
This requires a big practical compromise, accepting a longer commute.
And a commute is the time you spend traveling between your home and your work or school.
If they move outside the city, the commute might be 30 minutes longer,
The husband in the source says, I can manage that because he prioritizes financial stability.
meaning his money situation is safe and predictable.
They agree that we need financial stability more than we need a short commute.
It is a difficult, often sad conversation, but they agree on the action plan. They decide to leave the house. They agree to give notice.
This brings us to the logistics of ending a tenancy on good terms. This requires professional, clear communication with the landlord.
The first step is giving notice. This is the formal communication to your landlord or agency that you plan to leave the property.
Right. You have to check your contract because it usually requires a specific amount of time, often 1 month's notice.
You must use the correct, formal English phrase. I wanted to give notice that I will be vacating the property on date. Vacating means leaving.
They discuss the logistical steps for the exit. They confirm the final payment of the rent and the exact exit date.
And the tenant needs to keep the utilities running until the very last day of the contract.
Remember utilities. That's our vocabulary from part 1.
Electricity, gas, and water.
You must not switch them off too early, or the landlord can't check the house properly, and that might delay your deposit return.
The landlord also mentions the final inspection. This is when the landlord or agent comes to check the property to ensure there's no damage so they can process the deposit return.
This inspection usually involves a checklist. The landlord will check the condition of the walls, the kitchen appliances, and look for any deep cleaning that needs to be done.
The tenant emphasizes the importance of professionalism.
I'll make sure the flat is professionally cleaned.
And I'll pay the final month's rent on time, even if it feels difficult.
And why is this professionalism so crucial? It connects back to your future renting life. Because if you leave the property in perfect condition and pay all your bills, the landlord will offer to provide a reference.
A reference is a formal letter or email that confirms you are a reliable, clean, and financially responsible tenant.
This reference will be absolutely necessary and very helpful when you look for your next house.
Leaving on good terms is always the smart decision.
The conversation ends peacefully, confirming the agreement. So we agree I'll leave on the 30th of next month, and the inspection is scheduled for the 29th.
This shows clear, calm, and professional communication, even in a tough situation.
We have covered so much practical English today.
We really have. From the high budget to the tight budget, from the detailed contracts and responsibilities like council tax, to the friendly welcome of a new neighbor, that's a lot of learning.
It is, but we broke it down slowly. Let's do a quick final summary, hitting the most important vocabulary again, using simple English.
Okay, let's do it. We learned how to ask about the rent and the crucial extra costs called bills.
Gas, electricity, water, and council tax.
We also learned that you pay a deposit that you get back if there is no damage.
We stressed the importance of being flexible to keep the rent low, and we defined key features like furnished versus unfurnished.
And what it means to use a laundromat.
We also shifted focus and learned vital social English, how to greet a new neighbor with phrases like, welcome to the building.
We practice supportive language like, that's okay, you're doing well.
And we learned how to offer local help, talking about the park and the market.
And finally, we mastered the language needed for serious conversations, how to negotiate a rent increase, and how to prioritize financial stability over emotional attachment to a house.
These conversations are important not just for learning English words, but for navigating the important situations that come with life in a new country or city.
Absolutely.
Now for our final question of the day. This is for you to practice your English and confidence in the comments below. We want to hear your voice.
If you could choose any place to live in the world and you had to describe the neighborhood using the vocabulary we learned today, what kind of neighborhood would it be?
Would it be a quiet area? Near the town center? Close to public transport?
Tell us what you would choose and why.
Use phrases like, I want a quiet area, but I need good public transport. Or, I would like a partly furnished house.
Thank you so much for joining us for this deep dive and for practicing your essential English with us today.
Remember, every conversation, every phrase you learn helps you become more confident and more prepared for real life.
Keep learning, keep practicing, And we will see you next time for another deep dive into the English language.
See you around, and good luck with your housing search.